would you like to start your third point, Mr. Friedman?
Sure.
We are on a time schedule because we're on the radio, so I'm trying to move this along as fast as I can.
The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a body of more than 2,000 of the top climatological scientists in the world, appointed by the governments of 130 countries. In a consensus report issued by this agency in 2007, for which it was awarded a Nobel Prize, the world was warned that in order to have a chance to avoid the worst consequences of climate change, we'll need to reduce man-made greenhouse gases 80% from current levels by the year 2050. This year, that report was revised to warn that we have perhaps 6 years to dramatically reduce greenhouse gases, or the Earth will reach a tipping point that will trigger an irreversible series of catastrophic ecological events. James Hansen, the scientist who heads NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, has this to say about the current situation related to climate change. Quote, "We have used up all slack in the schedule for actions needed to defuse the global warming time bomb. Changes needed to preserve creation, the planet on which civilization developed, are clear. But the changes have been blocked by special interests focused on short-term profits who would sway in Washington and other capitals, who hold sway in Washington and other capitals," unquote. The term clean coal first came into being as the description meant to sell a newly envisioned technology by the coal power industry called Integrated Gasification Combined Cycle, or IGCC. Supposedly, IGCC technology was to be the holy grail that would eliminate about 99% of all toxic air pollutants from burning coal, as it simplified the process of capturing carbon dioxide for mechanical sequestration. But IGCC technology and sequestration both have proven to be nothing but a pipe dream of the coal industry, as physical and financial realities were confronted, rendering it completely impractical, dangerous, expensive, and inefficient. But that didn't stop the power industry from lowering the bar and shifting its clean coal rhetoric to apply to ancient pulverized coal burning technology as is being used at Cliffside, apparently hoping that the uninformed public just wouldn't notice the difference. Of course, there is no provision for removing and sequestering CO2 emissions at Cliffside. In addition, Duke Energy, with the help of their good friends at the North Carolina Division of Air Quality, is attempting to avoid a federal court order to meet federal emission control standards by installing maximum achievable control technology to reduce emissions of hazardous air pollutants like mercury, lead, and arsenic. The fact is, power plants like Cliffside don't come close to even meeting the industry's own definition of clean coal technology.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
Okay. Back to Cliffside. I spent a lot of time on that project. I met with the county commissions of both counties, unanimously passed resolutions in support of that project. The project received from the Department of Energy, I guess they'll be the next boogeyman here, $125 million in clean coal tax credits, which dollar for dollar is passed through to our customers. It did that because it is more than 40% efficient, and the back-end technology to remove emissions achieved their standards. We applied for that, and we got it on behalf of our customers. That certainly assists validating that project from an environmental standpoint. It's not your grandfather's coal plant. Your grandfather's coal plant is the ones that were shutting down at that site and at 4 other sites in North Carolina. Dan River and Eden, Buck and Salisbury, Riverbend just north of Charlotte, and Cliffside. So we're doing our best to keep the lights on and do it as efficiently as possible. So I see my stop is up.
Yes.
So,
All right, you may start your next point.
Yeah, the next point I wanted to make, there were questions raised about our duty to shareholders, and yes, we do have a duty to shareholders. I'm a shareholder. I expect many people in this room are shareholders, and maybe many people in this area are shareholders because the stock pays a good dividend that retirees often rely on. We also have a, as As I said, we have a fiduciary responsibility to shareholders to make a profit. North Carolina, we have not had a rate case since 1991 until 2007. We got our rates reduced in 2007, the base rates from 1991. If we were all that good about trying to make more money, I would think trying to raise our rates for the first time in 16 years, we would have been able to do that. But we reached a compromise there, and we agreed to reduce our base rates. One of the few utilities in the entire nation to do that. So to have your rates actually go down, I'm not sure how many products you have in 1991 that are now less expensive. Although fuel costs have gone up, admittedly, and we're trying to manage that as well. So anyway, so that's a little bit of background on that. About the PAC question, I had a question just recently about this. Yes, our executives do give to the Political Action Committee, but so do our employees. We have 18,000 employees, and the PAC dollars are not directed by the executives. They're directed by a board of 12 employees who meet monthly. And we certainly are within our rights to exercise our opinions and dollars in the political process, just like everybody in this room is. And with Governor Perdue getting money, a Democrat, which I am, by the way, Pat McCrory, who used to work for Duke Energy, also got money from Duke employees who ran against Beverly. So, you know, it's not an either-or kind of thing, just to let folks know how it really works. And we're proud of the PAC work that our folks do. So it's not, you know, it's their right to participate in the political process. We're a heavily regulated company. We have an allowed return of between 9 and 12%, depending on which state we're talking about. And that's really designed to attract the capital we need to build the projects we need to keep the lights on and to build the lines and things like that. Our capital budget over the next 5 years is $25 billion in the 5 states where we operate. So the sooner we get the rules of the road set on climate change, the more intelligent decisions we can make in investing that money on behalf of our customers.
Mr. Friedman?
1 minute?
1 minute for a rebuttal, yes.
Well, I was there when we introduced the Clean Smokestacks Act. We were one of the organizations that drew up the Clean Smokestacks Act when we introduced it. When we first introduced it, I have to make a point that Duke Energy and Progress Energy vociferously opposed us. And every time we went to a public hearing trying to sell the idea of the Clean Smokestacks Act, we were called names. You know, we were saying that we're going to have brownouts in North Carolina if this passes. It's going to be like California. When we made it clear that Duke Energy and Progress Energy could make money from the Clean Smokestacks Act, they came on board. And they did, and we're grateful they came on board. However, the point about a rate case review, we had asked for a rate case review at that point, and there was no way that Duke Energy was going to agree to a rate case review because they realized that they would have to lower rates if they did that. You see, what was happening was that there was a nuclear debt that was being retired from years before, and that would have resulted in lowered rates. But that expired finally, I believe, in the year 2005 or 2007, which enabled them to maintain current rates and put the emission control systems on that were due from the Clean Smokestacks Act without raising rates. So that's what the story is about.
And we got it done on behalf of our customers.
And you paid for it. They didn't pay for it.
We also didn't earn a return on it either. It was a dollar for dollar pass through. So, which typically when we invest money, we do earn a return. We didn't earn a dime on any smokestacks, or at least the first 1.1 billion spent. Anyway, don't mean to get out of sync here.